from nature, you're getting that survival of the fittest thing. If you're getting the real true definition of it, then it doesn't mean what the way people think of it today.
People of East Palestine and to the nearby communities in Ohio and Pennsylvania, we have told you loud and clear you are not forgotten. We'll stay with you to help the accountability that you deserve.
I'm sorry, mate. Isn't this you?
Which says that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated.
I mean, it was definitely an ironic thing to do. You take down regulations, you water down regulations, you weaken the power of the administration to deal with freight railroad companies, and then you show up wanting to be a great friend of the people who have been impacted by a rail disaster. This is somebody who, as far as I know, never went to a derailment site when one of those happened on his watch, and there were thousands, even ones with fatalities. Never even sent his transportation secretary to go. Now that it's campaign season, I guess things are different. We were there to work. We were there to get things done. And I'm really glad I had the opportunity to be there, because I got to tell you, the people I spent time with in East Palestine, we didn't talk politics. I'm sure most of them are on the other side politically, but that didn't come up. What came up was how concerned they are for their community.
Regulations must be eliminated.
Regulations must be eliminated.
You mentioned a national political figure who's decided to get involved. It sounds like you're talking about Trump. And then you said, I need your help. How can he help?
Well, what we do is express support for reversing the deregulation that happened on his watch. I heard him say he had nothing to do with it. So if he had nothing to do with it, and they did it in his administration against his will, maybe he could come that he supports us moving in a different direction. We're not afraid to own our policies when it comes to raising the bar on regulation. And I've got to think that him indicating that this is something that everybody, no matter how much you disagree on politics, presidential campaigns, can get behind. Higher fines, tougher regulations on safety, Congress untying our hands on braking rules, all the other things that go with that. That'd be a nice thing for him to do.
Listen, we're all in agreement that what happened in East Palestine is a disaster on many fronts, right? But I'm not going to sit here and watch this Cheeto politically mudsling as if he wasn't part of the problem, as if he didn't undo regulation to brakes that Obama put in place.
After a bunch of derailments in 2014, said, let's just put them on the cars that have the carcinogens, for example. The industry, the railroads, the chemical companies, the lobbies fought it hard. They gutted it. The final version was that long, high-hazard flammable trains would need brakes by 2023, ironically. But in 2018, administration Elaine Chao was the transportation secretary, rolled it back entirely. This will be the sort of topic, I'm sure, of the class action lawsuits that are now being filed. The response from Norfolk Southern so far, $1 million charitable fund, $1.2 million financial aid to families, 100 plus air purifiers and air monitoring services.
As if he didn't have a hand in why this disaster happened in the first place. There's blame to go around, but don't come there with your paper towels and your McDonald's order and think that you're the hero.
The people of East Palestine and...
All right, comments. So that was a really good montage right there, I think, of the topic. And I saw a lot of stuff about it, and that was short, and it had everything. And I'm not Pete Buttigieg fan, bruh. I do not like this guy at all. Like, he's about as authentic as a, I don't know, freaking empty suit. So, but, and then, you got the political, time is coming around. The election season is coming around. The presidential election season is coming around. So, it's starting to rear up. And that's part of the reason why you had Trump saying what he was saying, and then that's part of the reason why you had Pete Buttigieg saying what he was saying. So it's kind of like, you know, the Republicans saying what they're gonna say, and then the Democrats saying what they're gonna say. It's setting up the stage for, you know, the presidential campaigns, the campaigns coming up. So, but in the middle, you have the reality of people dying, people being sick, poisoned air, poisoned water, you know, like train derailments left and right. And it's true what they were saying about the regulations, because they were trying to, it was about those brakes, and hazardous materials being carried. The regulation was to make sure that if there were hazardous materials on a train, that they were equipped with these particular brakes that would help in these kinds of situations, you know, to avoid these kinds of situations from happening. Okay, so that's the thing, though. You know, the corporations are always say it's going to cost money. You know, it's going to hurt the company. Da 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 da. And then it's like there hasn't been a problem. Like, you know, they just want to make us spend money. You know, but then they roll back the regulations, and then all of a sudden we have all of these accidents that happen, you know, that are really terrible. And this is also on the backdrop of the strike that happened not that long ago. The big rail companies, the unions for 2 or 3 of the major rail companies was striking just last year. So this is bipartisan, actually. So like, this is what I be saying about good cop, bad cop all the time, because Biden was the one who put an end to that strike. You know, the government stepped in and got in between the unions and the companies and stomped out the strike, because they were like, we can't afford for, you know, the union, I mean, the rails to stop going, because it would bring the country to a halt, because it's so, that infrastructure is so imperative, you know, to the well-being of the country. So that was Biden's stance on it. So, but meanwhile, those people they had a reason why they were striking related to it. The way it wasn't in the news, it was all about these guys trying to pay time off, which was part of it. The videos and reading the articles, the people were saying it's safe. They said that these conditions are unsafe. You have these guys working these hours. They're tired. They're saying the infrastructure is trash. They haven't put any money in that. We have really old equipment. We got really old rails. And instead of for the rail companies to be putting money into that, they're putting money into their stock buybacks, and their CEOs is making a killing, you know, so that and their investors are making a killing, you know. But meanwhile, the infrastructure is withering away, you know. So then when you have a situation where they care more about, you know, just making money, it's all about, you know, this quarter, you know, how much did we make this quarter, you know, or how much can we save this quarter? And that is the goal every time, you know, how much over last year, how much over last quarter, you know. Then you never have the money to spend on those infrastructure projects or putting those proper brakes on these systems. So then that's what causes these kinds of things to happen, you know. And then the other part of that is, I talked about in the other show, is about the suits. We have a punitive system where we don't have a preventative system, not in our law enforcement, not anywhere. It's all about punitive. So it's like, okay, well, some trains derailed, that's fine. We'll just pay out the fines or we'll pay out we'll fight the lawsuits tooth and nail, but when we lose them, we'll pay them out. We have a budget for that. That still is only a drop in the bucket versus the freaking profits that they made just in the last quarter. But so that just shows they don't care that these people died, that their water is poisoned, that the air is poisoned, that these people are going to have health issues for years into the future. Comments? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's messed up how all this stuff is being handled, because it's like I mean, everything that you just said is on point. Um, you know, it really is a game of, okay, who, the blame game for one, because you know Trump's, well, because I mean, I guess with Biden not going to see the whole thing, because I don't know if he said he had nothing to do with it, but I know that during this period, like Biden was not willing to put any aid, send any aid to Ohio, and pretty much turn his back on those people. And, of course, Trump going down there and being there and this, that, and the other, I'm sure those were like photo ops to, say, okay, I'm here. I'm not the president, so I can't really do anything about it. It's a bunch of, just a bunch of mess. But I mean, either way, we got a serious problem that's going on, and things that's like gonna take a lot to fix, as far as repair. I mean, doesn't matter how many times, how many lawsuits get filed or how many wins and losses. I mean, we're at a deficit. We're at a loss of life, loss of like the earth is poisoned, the water is poisoned, and like those people around there, like I'm sure the same. Any kind of wildlife that's would be a staple for that area is gone. So I
So if the
really
question is like, it shows where our priorities are. Our priorities are hoarding money for the investors and the CEOs, because their checks is not going to change as a result of this. Like you said, the water's poison, the air poison, the people poison, the animals poison, but the checks are going to be the same. The dividends will be the same. The investors are going to get their proper dividends. But probably not.
yeah.
And those damn campaign donations are big.